All right, folks, we have begun a major XRP decision week. We're talking about decisions for a spot ETF from Franklin Templeton, and we're also talking about a decision from Judge Torres. Also, today, we need an update on the status of the appeal, SEC versus Ripple. So we have that looming deadline as we are recording this update. It's a little after 2:30 on the West Coast, 5:30 Eastern, and we haven't seen anything yet. So we're watching this situation closely. It's going to be a big week with critical decisions being made for XRP. And you know what I think as far as the trajectory of this asset once we finally get these spot ETFs live. The good news, if you're in Canada or looking to partake in the Canadian Toronto Stock Exchange, we do have one XRP spot ETF going live Wednesday for you. Stay tuned for that. Along with, I'm not done, XRP activity on the XRP ledger right now, basically up almost tenfold. And the volume that we've seen pick up 12x in the past 24 hours. So what's happening right now? Let's get into the update. I appreciate you for stopping by. President Trump and UK Prime Minister Starmer just signed a major trade deal at the G7 in Canada. This includes $6 billion in new tariff revenue. U.S. tariffs on imports from UK raised to 10%, and the UK tariffs on imports from the United States lowered to 1.8%. $5 billion in new exports from the United States. Another deal done. President Trump at the G7 right now, and I know folks say stick to crypto. I include current events in my analysis. It's an indicator that you gotta put in when you're looking at your charts, and sometimes the chart can tell you what might be coming in the current events next. Sometimes we feed off of the current events and inevitable dates, inevitable events that we can invest in. Invest in the inevitable, right? Why wouldn't you? And so, of course, I'm going to continue to apply current events to my understanding and market analysis. If you don't like it, well, you can go watch something else, because this is why we continue to hit targets again and again, and our portfolios have the profit in them to prove it. So get in, get tapped in with us. Let's rock and roll. Elizabeth, I got a plan for you. Warren doesn't want to see this Genius Act passed in its current form. She says that billionaires like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos could launch stablecoins that track your purchases, exploit your data, and squeeze out competitors. These billionaires will come begging for a taxpayer bailout when it inevitably blows up. So speaking of investing in the inevitable, Elizabeth Warren says it's inevitable that these corporate billionaires are going to go bust with their stablecoins, and she's not going to let it happen. If she got her way, it'd be full CBDC with no ability to have self-custody of your assets. These people are sick. Massachusetts, what the heck are we doing? We got to get her gone. John Deaton should have won that. And so this is what we're currently up against, is the likes of Elizabeth Warren and her bankster backers who are trying to manipulate this Genius Act stablecoin legislation, which is set to be voted on tomorrow. Perfect timing with everything taking place. How do we save the United States dollar? It's going to be these stablecoins like RLUSD, USDC, and others. And Elizabeth Warren wants to make sure that we don't have too many. She doesn't want competition. She doesn't want a free market for stablecoins. She would rather it just be our Federal Reserve. Ripple, Circle, no. She probably thinks that they should be shut down. And speaking of some interesting developments here, we're watching Uphold right now, coming live here with a little, looks to be an exclusive ZBCN reward. This is the little Zebeki ticker, Zebek Network. We've been talking about this one. Attention XRP holders, if you hold $50,000 in XRP on Uphold as of June 11th, you are eligible for an exclusive ZBCN reward. So I don't know the full details on this. If it's too late to move some XRP over to Uphold to be eligible for this ZBCN reward. But nonetheless, we had talked about how we knew that this was coming, some sort of announcement deal with Uphold and Zebek. This looks to be the announcement here today. And it is interesting to watch. Zebek picked up major traction on the Uphold platform. And also Caleb and Brown as well. That's where I had bought my Zebek. But ZBCN, we're got to talk about this one because check it out, folks. This is a big rally that we saw here today with Zebek pumping over 25% on the day. At one point, we're looking to recapture half a penny here We were up at that level earlier today. Like I said, over 25% on the pump, currently up 18% on the day. But after pumping 900%, I want to just remind everybody what happens here. When an asset pumps 900%, back when I did my first video, back when I did my deep dive, right in between that, I think that some investors that were already in ZBCN, they kind of took advantage of this opportunity to hit some exit liquidity, brought ZBCN back down. And if you scooped up anywhere in this range, I mean, you're talking 600 to 900% gains if you bought anywhere in this range back when I was talking about it. But anyways, the sucker pumps 900%, drops by 48%. Everybody starts to freak out. And then the sucker pumps 20% in a day. And I was already telling everybody here in our community, in my Discord group, that ZBCN is not done. Still has strong fundamentals. Just went through another token unlock. And that's the one thing about the tokenomics I'm not thrilled with. But the good news is that the token inflation will be over by March 2026. But in the time being, we're seeing that these token unlocks are not really impacting price negatively. The few months that I've been in this ZBCN and looked at it, these token unlocks do not seem to be harming the price. And I mean, token unlock was completed yesterday. The sucker pumps 25% today. This thing is far from being over. So we'll keep you updated on that one. In the meantime, speaking of payroll, which is the main utility of Zebek, Uphold direct deposit just went live. You can set this up via your payroll provider. Deposit $250 max, it looks like, and you can repeat and earn up to $200 per month while getting 4% cash back in XRP. Go check it out for yourself. I have Uphold linked up down below along with the rest of our community resources. Check it out. Check it out. Okay. Now, this is what's getting us excited here. The XRP Ledger activity is ramping up, basically 10x. And this growth has really just gone crazy ever since October with the launch of First Ledger. Now the Joey wallet's live and we can onboard the masses in less than 60 seconds to the XRP Ledger. So this is only going to pick up from here. But what we're looking at here is sentiment feed picking up on this data, showing the XRP Ledger is showing serious signs of growth from both a usage and key stakeholder perspective. The amount of interacting XRP addresses has averaged over 295,000 per day over the past week. Its normal daily average over the past 3 months was approximately 35 to 40,000. So we're looking at nearly 10x growth in the normal daily average, basically the daily average XRP wallet addresses. Doing anything on the XRP ledger, right? But that activity picking up over 10x essentially. Additionally, there are now over 2,700 whale and shark wallets holding at least 1 million XRP for the first time in the asset's 12-year history. Now, in this morning's update, I talked about how BlackRock bought the dip. They were buying Bitcoin every single day last week. And I asked you guys, what did you do during the dip? The pullback to $2.08 just over the weekend, last week. And then, of course, the week before, Elon Musk and Donald Trump got in a tizzy, and XRP was brought back down to 206. Have you been buying the dip just like BlackRock has been doing? Just like these XRP whales with now over 2,700 XRP wallet addresses holding 2.25 million or more. Big whales, big bags, and they're only getting bigger. Now, decision week is here. Bill Morgan clarifying, and I wanted to talk about this in this update because so many people are FOMOing into XRP and getting excited about XRP because, we got dates that are looming right now, but I wanted to provide clarity on what exactly we can expect to happen here. So first and foremost, today, June 16th, Monday, the SEC needs to report to the Court of Appeals today on the status of the appeal and cross appeals as ordered on April 16th. So this is Bill Morgan clarifying a clickbait article that took what he said out of context, right? Saying Bill Morgan teases a major development in the SEC versus Ripple case today. And then this starts to get shared by TikTokers and X, Twitters, and it just goes crazy, taken out of context. And then these crypto news outlets pick up on this and they come up with the craziest headlines. I mean, I've seen them do it with my own content in the past too. people are like, hey, Zach, you just made it on, I don't want to name the publications, but you know what I'm talking about. Zach, you were just in this publication. I'm thinking, oh, crap. What did they take out of context now? And so that's kind of what's happening right now. And it causes confusion within the community. We're here to provide clarity. And a huge shout out to Bill Morgan for being a good lawyer in the community, providing us context and understanding on where we're at. But today is a deadline. SEC needs to report to the Court of Appeals on what's going on here. And as it stands here at this hour, 2:30 on the West Coast, 5:30 Eastern, as I record this update, we don't have a filing, and we also don't have a decision from Judge Torres. That's the other big decision that gets made either this week or most likely is most likely going to be this week or next week. That would be Judge Torres, the decision on whether or not to accept the SEC versus Ripple settlement, a reduction in that fine to $50 million, return the $75 million to Ripple, and then lift that injunction. That's the big decision that's on Judge Torres' desk. But because she hasn't made that decision, the SEC and the Court of Appeals needs to have a filing in today on the status update. So we should expect a status update at some point today. Maybe it comes in late tomorrow. Maybe they don't file it because they just say, hey, we're settling up. We're waiting for Judge Torres to sign off. I don't know. But that's what we're expecting today. And then Judge Torres has the decision on her desk right now for review. Does she want to accept the SEC versus Ripple settlement? Remember, they already submitted this proposal once. It was rejected. She said it wasn't the proper filing and she needed to see exceptional circumstances, essentially. So this is round 2, the second try at this SEC versus Ripple settlement. Now, this is causing FOMO, probably fueling a little bit of this XRP pump up above 231. Which I'm not complaining about. I just want our community to understand what to expect. The other thing that's causing FOMO is people getting excited about decision week for some XRP spot ETFs. So that's what we got coming up here this week. I asked Grok which ones are due this month of June. Well, it's the Franklin Templeton is the big one. SEC decision due tomorrow, June 17th. Also, you have the 21 shares core XRP Trust ETF that is also due for a decision tomorrow as well. Now, in the meantime, look at the Coinbase XRP volume for today. Chad Steingraber grabbing this data point for us. Look at this one, a 12x growth in the past 24 hours when it comes to Coinbase volume for XRP. It's picking up big time. And this led to XRP price growth. Well, up over full pump here today of about 8%, right? But we were just at lows of 208 here on Friday, all the way back above $2.30. Looks like as I'm recording this update, we're pulling back here to 229, but we were all the way up to 233 here today. Big green candle for XRP, and everybody's starting to get excited. And the thing about this decision week for the spot ETFs in the United States, that's going on here. But up in Canada, we are already seeing the approval and the go live date for the Purpose Investments spot XRP ETF to start trading on Wednesday, June 18th on the Toronto Stock Exchange. So we will be waiting down here in the United States for a decision on our spot ETFs. In the meantime, the ticker is going to be XRPP, an ETF tracking XRP spot ETF, right? Up in Canada, live on Wednesday. So folks, you're starting to see real data points showing us that the activity and attention towards XRP is picking up. For crying out loud, I just saw that Pump Fund is getting shut down. It got shut down on X. The creators and founders pages got shut down. Sounds like perfect time for the Joey wallet going live in an XRP meme season, XRP DeFi season. XRP summer is here. But don't just take it from me, some YouTuber hyping it up, right? No, we showed you guys the real data. Over basically almost 300,000 active addresses on the XRP ledger last week on a daily basis. You're talking about hundreds of thousands of users on a daily basis compared to the 30,000 that we had just a couple weeks prior. 10x growth, XRP ledger activity. We're about to 10x the amount of wallets that we have on this ledger as well. DeFi exploding, memes picking up, All of this combined with the institutional data points and catalysts that we have before us, ETFs going live, SEC versus Ripple case over, these are inevitable events that we should be investing in. I'll tell you how I'm positioned. I got a big bag of XRP. No leverage right now because we still have the world global conflicts taking place. So no leverage for me. I'm holding my spot, and it's a big bag because we know what's coming. No way around it. You can only delay this so long. It's inevitable that this case comes to a conclusion this week or next week. We get the decision from Judge Torres, and then it's inevitable that the spot XRP ETFs go live. Now it's up to us to speculate on how much we'll see in inflows from the spot XRP ETFs. But if we just see a fraction of the inflows that the Bitcoin ETFs have seen, 10, 20, 30, and beyond. Now I'm talking about dollars per XRP. 10, 20, $30 and beyond, depending on how aggressive these inflows are. So it's a big week here for XRP. The activity's already picking up. Most of us are positioned properly. I've been scooping up a couple other cryptos here during the dip, watching my XRP memes, still holding everything. Took profit on my leverage last week, and we're just going to pray for peace while positioning our portfolios properly. A lot of profit coming our way for the rest of this bull run. I hope that you're tapped in with us because we put all of the current events combined with the financial markets to understand what's happening in this digital asset space. We can look at what's happened in TradeFi. We can look at what's happened to the gold ETFs compared to the Bitcoin ETF, which is at the same levels it took the the gold ETFs decades to achieve. The Bitcoin ETFs are accomplishing in a year. If XRP and the ETFs that are about to go live see even a fraction of those inflows, you absolutely have a life-changing opportunity within XRP. It's just that simple. It's just simple math. If you have data to refute my statements, please drop it in the comments down below. I'd be happy to look at it. But you can't refute this data. You can't stop what is coming. It is a double-digit XRP with ease. Please lock in with us. If you appreciate what we're doing, you know how to help us out. ZachRector.com, all of our community resources, XRP family merch. There's a reason why XRP is on top of the castle. I'll see you guys in the next one. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.